In today's internet culture, it's common for older celebrity images to reappear and circulate widely, often without context or background. The same happens with past photographs of Dana Plato, which have recently drawn renewed attention online. What makes these moments interesting isn't the images themselves, but the way modern audiences interpret them through today's expectations, values, and social media dynamics. When these photos resurface, they tend to spark quick reactions. Some viewers judge them based on present-day standards, while others see them as ordinary snapshots of a person living through a different stage of life. The problem is that most of these images travel without explanation, which often leads to misunderstandings about the time, the person, and the circumstances behind them. A career shaped by early fame, Dana Plato became widely recognized at a very young age through television success, which placed her in an unusual position early in life. Like many child performers, she grew up in the public eye, where even small personal changes were noticed and often discussed publicly. As she transitioned into adulthood, her career choices and personal life continued to attract attention, sometimes in ways that were unfair or overly harsh. The entertainment industry at the time did not offer the same level of privacy protections or mental health awareness that are more commonly discussed today. This meant that young actors often had limited control over how they were portrayed outside of their roles. For many former child stars, the shift into adult identity is already complex. For Dana Plato, that transition unfolded under constant public observation, which amplified both support and criticism in equal measure. Media then versus digital culture now. One of the biggest differences between the past and present is how information spreads. In earlier decades, media coverage was controlled by newspapers, magazines, and television programs. Once an image or story was published, it often defined a public narrative for years. Today, social media platforms and algorithm-driven feeds have changed that entirely. Old photographs can suddenly reappear, not because of new relevance, but because they generate engagement. This means images from decades ago can trend again without any historical framing attached. In that environment, people often react instantly rather than reflectively. Without context, an old photo becomes open to interpretation, and interpretation can quickly turn into assumption. That is why conversations about past celebrities sometimes feel disconnected from the reality of their time. Looking back with context and care, revisiting the lives of public figures like Dana Plato invites a broader reflection on how fame, privacy, and public judgment have evolved. Her story is often discussed, not just in terms of her work in television, but also as an example of how early celebrity exposure can shape a person's entire life experience. When older images resurface, they can be viewed in many ways, some thoughtful, some careless. The most meaningful approach is to remember that photographs capture moments, not entire lives. They don't show the pressures, struggles, achievements, or personal growth that exist beyond the frame. Taking a more grounded perspective helps shift the focus from quick judgment to understanding. It also highlights how important it is to treat past public figures as full individuals, rather than as isolated images frozen in time.